and welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Mentor Method podcast with your host, Krystal, also known as the most famous woman in the world. So today I want to talk about being part of the solution, not part of the problem. And this is also going to tie into my ongoing larger theme of getting your mind right, getting your self-esteem up, and becoming the person that you want to be. So a major reason that people are held back in their personal and professional lives is low self-esteem, depression, low self-worth, not believing in yourself, and a lot of that comes from PTSD. And I know it seems cliche, but yes, it goes back to your childhood or past life trauma. It doesn't have to be necessarily only in your childhood. It can be past relationship trauma, abuse of any type, whether that's mental or physical or both. It can be caused by PTSD that you might not even know you have. A lot of this stuff, actually, I would say most of this stuff is subconscious. So you most likely are not fully aware of the things that are holding you back. And that's a reason why you can't change them, or you feel that you're stuck, or you feel like your life isn't going the way that you want, or your goals are still dreams and they just seem like they're never going to materialize. So all of that. And I want to give you guys a little bit of my backstory of my personal life, my childhood, because that's the best way that I can guide you and explain this whole concept of being the solution, not the problem. So I grew up with I had an absentee father. My biological father was in and out of prison my entire childhood and pretty much my entire life. I met him once when I was around 4 years old, and all I remember is that I did not like him. That's about it. I distinctly remember not liking this person at all. And I wanted him to get away from my mom. And so there was already trauma there about, abandonment and just not having that double parent household. And we can get all into that. But so I did not realize this until I was much older, but I was also living with a mother who she had her own struggles with mental stability. And I have a very strained relationship with my mother right now. I haven't talked to her in quite some time, and there's a huge reason why it started becoming extremely unhealthy for me to be around her. And maybe we can get into that later, but I'm not really trying to throw anybody under the bus and give every single tiny last detail without really her permission, honestly. But to give you an idea, she's never been diagnosed formally with this to my knowledge. But then again, I haven't talked to her in a while, so really who knows? But from my perspective now as an adult in a program dealing with health A to Z, including mental health and upper division psychology classes and all that stuff, I believe that she is borderline. So I believe I shouldn't say is borderline. That's not how we want to start. That's not a nice way to say it. So I believe she suffers or suffered from borderline personality disorder as I was growing up. And for those of you who don't know what borderline personality disorder is, it's actually really unfortunate that it's called borderline personality disorder, because it sounds just so horrible. It automatically conjures up images of someone who is borderline crazy, right? Like if I mean, just that word, it just sounds so negative. And there's actually quite a bit of, there's people around the world that are trying to get this title and description changed to more accurately reflect what's actually going on with people with borderline personality disorder. But to give you an idea, borderline personality disorder comes from an unstable childhood. So she herself grew up in an unstable environment, and it has a lot to do with abandonment trauma. And it's actually pretty complicated, but to just tell you how it manifested on the outside for me as her child, she was just very negative, extremely negative. We kind of never knew when mom would be exploding, kind of like Katie Kaboom. I don't know if you guys ever remember that cartoon, but it was very unpredictable. She was very unpredictable, and she would kind of fly off the rails at a moment's notice with no warning. And as a small child, it was scary. Very scary. And just to give you an idea, one evening I recall I was about 9 or 10 years old, and my sister, who was about, I think, 14 or 15 or so, I don't remember the exact details, but I know she came home late from one of her activities. And all I recall is some very explicit words being yelled, and my mom just jumping and just flying across the room and punching my sister in the face. And yeah. So, not fun. And that personality also translated into some days mom was normal, and other days she would just say the most bizarre, horrible, random things that some of them are so horrible that they literally, I mean, some things I can recall and it just breaks me. And I don't even want to get into what those things were, but just imagine the most horrible things you can say to another human being, pretty much. Yeah, that. So there's that. And I'm not saying my whole entire childhood and my whole entire teenage life and everything in my whole entire upbringing was horrible, because it wasn't. But the point is, it was very unpredictable and unstable. I did not have a stable, healthy, environment where I felt like I was safe. And, I kind of felt like I was always living in terror. I also lived with a my mother's second husband, who was himself mentally ill. He was both mentally, physically, and sexually abusive. So I have 1, 2, 3 triple whammies of the mentally ill situation. And actually, on top of that, when I was in high school, I was raped by my history teacher. I thought we were in a relationship. I thought he was my boyfriend when I was 16 years old. We had an inappropriate and illegal relationship when I was 16. So it's a lot of PTSD. And I'm telling you this long-winded story because I want you to know that, yeah, I didn't just grow up in a silver spoon-fed fancy cloud land. A lot of horrible shit happened to me. And so all of that, of course, I did not realize the full extent to which it affected me. My whole teenage, all of it, from teenager to young adult, all through my 20s and even 30s, I did not understand the impact of all of that stuff and how that affected my self-esteem, my depression, my anxiety, my social anxiety, my trust issues, my abandonment issues, my alcoholism. I've struggled with alcoholism my entire adult life. I still struggle with it now. But one of the ways that it came out was kind of a fuck 'em mentality. And that was a coping mechanism. And you know what? When you don't have any other way of coping, anything that you use that is not killing you, hey, better than nothing, right? So a large part of my adult life was spent in a literally just, I would say that to myself, like, fuck them. Whoever, I would screw people over. I can totally admit that 100%. And why? Because why would I, with what I grew up in and how I experienced my development as a young person, why would I care about other human beings? Look at how they treated me. I'm a kid getting raped by my teacher. Somebody who I actually went to and built a close relationship with prior to the abuse. I actually went to him because I wanted an adult that I could go to talk about the abuse that was happening at home. And the person, it's like jumping out of the pot into the fire. The person that I went to because I thought I could trust him and talk about the crap that was happening at home, well, he abused me. So I had no respect for human beings. Why would I? Look at what they do. Father abandons his family to do drugs, deal drugs in Long Beach, get arrested, not take care of his family, steal cars, rob people, whatever he's doing. Mom is what I thought at the time was, my mom's crazy. I have a crazy mother. And I can't explain I couldn't put into words as a young adult, as a kid, somebody coming up. I didn't have the words to explain what was even happening. Besides, my mom is crazy. And I didn't even realize that I was being abused by my stepfather. I didn't quite understand that. And I didn't think that I was being raped when I was 16. I thought that my history teacher was my boyfriend. So I had no respect for human beings, period. Why? Why would I? And I don't blame my younger self for that at all. And if that was you or that is you, hey, this is real. So no need to blame, but I will say this, the idea that turned it around for me was thinking, okay, all this stuff happened. I have a literally fuck you mentality to pretty much everyone. Family, friends, boyfriends, whoever, F you, I don't care. Couldn't care less. I'd smile in your face and stab you in the back. I don't care. The thing that turned it around for me was just, and I don't remember, it wasn't like one day I'm this way, the next day I'm a different way. It was over years and years and years and years of constant therapy, self-help books, seminars, podcasts like this one, just drilling into my brain, just grasping for anything to get out of the shithole that was my mental life, my thoughtmosphere. The thing that turned it around for me was finally realizing that, okay, that happened. So now your solution, Krystal, I would say to myself, so now your solution is to be just like the people who you hated so much. Great. So you went through all of this shit, and at the end of it all, you turned out just like them. Shitty. Not caring about the people around you. Being a backstabber, being a liar, being just that. Yeah, working hard. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Going to school, smiling, being the cute blonde cheerleader, getting scholarships to NYU, being an honor student. Yes. Upholding the pinnacle of what society would deem, I don't know, a successful young woman. You would never, unless you interacted with me on a very personal basis, you wouldn't know that about me. It's not like I was running around just, acting like a horrible person. I wasn't acting like a horrible person. I was acting like a nice person. Smiling and everything looked shiny and new and always in designer, this and that, and just looking great and, hanging out with the right people in LA and Hollywood and playing guitar and being on stage, and you would never know it. But I remember thinking, awesome, Krystal, you're so smart. You're so smart that your solution to abuse is to be an abuser yourself. Maybe not to that extent, but just that mental, complete and utter disregard for other people's feelings. And slowly, I just started recognizing I don't want to be like them. Why would I want to be like them? Internally, I don't want to be the person that doesn't care about anyone. That's horrible. I don't want to be another shitty person on an already shitty planet with all kinds of shitty things happening. because it makes me feel shitty. Being a shitty person, it doesn't matter whether you have a religious background or follow the 10 Commandments or whatever it is, or believe in whatever. It's not about that. It's that being a shitty person sucks. It feels shitty inside. It does. Being someone who I used to dislike or even hate as my solution to my PTSD finally one day broke, and I finally said, you know what? No, I'm not letting them win. I'm not letting them win. All of those abusers, if I become like them, they won. And you know what's funny is I've heard this type of rhetoric from other people before, but I'm telling you, hear it again and again and again, hear it again and again, and think about it again and again, because you know what? One day it's finally going to get through your skull. Finally, one day it will get into your brain and your bones and your heart and soul. Finally, one day you're going to get it. That you can be part of the solution to the world, the literal world's problems. You can be a part of the solution and not just another shitty ass person walking around making the world a worse place. It's just a choice. And you know what? There's a lot of times when it's better, more lucrative, whatever, to be that lying, backstabbing person. But you're becoming part of the problem of the world. It's completely your choice to be part of the solution. And it feels great to be part of the solution, to know that I wake up every day now thinking, how can I be part of the solution? How can I be a genuinely good person? Why? Because it feels good. Not because I have some high moral standards and I'm an angel and I'm whatever. No, because it feels good to be a good person. No one's perfect, of course. But when I wake up every day knowing that I'm not going to let the people who abused me win, I'm not going to allow those people to dictate the rest of the course of my life. I'm still alive. I'm here. I made it. I survived. I mean, my stepdad's not even alive anymore. I'm still here. My real biological father, I don't even know if he's alive or dead. I'm here. I made it. The abuser, my high school teacher, well, guess what? He was just put on administrative leave after 20-some odd years of abusing kids. He's finally getting got. Just now, this year. It's taken us almost 4 years to get to this point with myself and other survivors coming forward about him finally. So he's outed. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what he did now. His wife knows. All of his friends know. But I'm still here. I made it. I survived. I'm an adult now. And if you're listening to this, you're an adult now. You're the adult you that you were thinking of when you were a kid. It's you now. You're a grown-up. Who do you want to be? You want to let some shitty events win? You want to let whatever person who dumped you, you want to let them dictate your life? Like, no. That's not what we're doing here. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. For years, I allowed my abusers, my shitty, crappy childhood experiences, and whoever dude I was dating, whatever person, I would just let them just run me years after the abuse. Until one day, thank God, I don't know how it happened or exactly what or which podcast I was listening to when it finally got through my heart and soul and brain that I'm not letting them win. I don't want to make the world a shittier place. I'm choosing who I am. I am choosing that, not them. Oh my God. You know why? Because I'm better than that. And so are you. All right, I hope this helps you guys. And remember, each one teach one.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.